Yo, what is up, guys? We're back doing another video. Today's video is I've turned different anime characters into the Kage from Naruto. Now, without further ado, let's just get right into it. In place of I did all the current, before we get into it, I did all the current meaning like by Boruto, all the current like Raikage, Kazekage, Tsuchikage, all those other four Kage, and then I did every single Hokage. If that makes sense. I don't actually know what order I have them in. We'll figure it out as we go along. Anyway, starting off with the fourth Tsuchikage. What was her name? Kurosuchi? I can't remember her full name. In her place, I did, what is her name? Soifon from Bleach. I think they have a similar look. They have kind of that similar, like, kind of tough girl attitude a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So this is what I got. I think it turned out pretty good. This one in place of Darui, the fifth Raikage. I got Coco from Toriko, which probably a lot of people don't really know Coco or Toriko that well, but their personalities are kind of similar. They're kind of reliable. Not that they're not flashy, but they kind of maybe go under the radar a little bit. Don't really stand out as much as some other people. You know, they're not main characters. But so I think there are some similarities in their character. Some slight similarities. Now next I got is his name Chojuro, the current Mizukage, which would be the fifth or sixth. I think sixth. Anyway, I used Atsushi Nakajima, from Bungo Stray Dogs, which, a little off on a side note, when I was looking up reference pictures for Atsushi Nakajima, I put in just his name, and unfortunately there's an author also by that name. Obviously this is what he's based on. Almost no pictures of him came up. It was only the character from the show, so that's kind of disappointing. It's a great one of the greatest short story authors of all time, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Nobody cares about that. Anyway, what I thought was similar about their characters is that they're both, kind of timid, kind of, or at least they start off that way, kind of timid. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They don't have a lot of self-confidence, maybe. But they over time they turn in more reliable. You can see that if you watch Boruto. He's a more reliable guy now. Anyway, I thought it was it's a slight resemblance, but I mean, honestly, there's a whole lot of different characters I could have picked. I could have picked maybe Deku or whatever from My Hero Academia. Anyway, all right, finally, in the place of the Kazekage Gaara, I picked Agio of the Desert from Fairy Tail. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is the only similarity is that they both use sand abilities and that their moniker is of the desert. Yes, that is the only similarity. And it's the only similarity I need. Alright, next up we got the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju. For him, I picked Goldie Roger from One Piece. Now, what's the similarity? Obviously, for Hashirama, I could have picked somebody who used also wood techniques, like Green Bull from I can't remember how to pronounce his full name. Green Bull from One Piece, or Captain Vengeance from Black Clover, or etc. A bunch of different guys I could have picked. But let's be honest, none of those guys would have been a good fit for Hashirama. So I went with the Hashirama was the guy that set up something great and left a legacy. He started the Hidden Leaf Village, and he was the greatest of his time. Goldie Roger was the greatest of his time, and he started the Great Pirate Era. That's a similarity. Again, it's kind of a stretch. I guess. But I wanted to pick somebody cool. That picture didn't turn out that great. This one didn't turn out that great either. I wanted to give a couple different looks for a Hashirama or a Goldie Roger as, a first Hokage. Second Hokage in place of Tobirama Shinju, I got Roronoa Zoro. And the similarity is pretty obvious, is that they are both very racist. Anyway, moving right along, we got third Hokage in place of old man Hiruzen Sarutobi. We've got Genryusai Yamamoto, first captain of Squad 1. The similarities that they're both old. And not all these similarities are spot on. This is kind of an interesting one that turned out, it ended up being like two different people for some reason. It turned his cane into like an old person. But this is kind of cool. This would be like a cool comparison of like him. Maybe the top one is like him younger, and then him older is the bottom one. It's cool. It's different. I like to throw out different things. Fourth Hokage in place of Minato Namikaze, I've got Bartholomew Kuma, which you might be thinking those two guys aren't similar at all. They do have some slight similarities. I mentioned it literally day before yesterday. So yeah, overall, it's just some slight similarities. Anyway, moving on. We've got Tsunade. In place of Tsunade, we picked Captain Unohana from Bleach. Again, this is kind of the opposite of what I did for the Bleach Captain video. Simple, basically healing is kind of their similarity. Really, the only similarity of personalities aren't the same at all. And you gotta also make sure you got the heavies, and that's also a very important part of the Tsunade comparison. It is what it is, Anyway, moving on. This one was probably everyone was expecting. We got Gojo in Kakashi's sensei's 6th Hokage spot. Really, their personalities really aren't that similar at all. Only their look, the blindfold. Really, Kakashi doesn't wear a blindfold. He just wears a thing over his eye and a mask. But this honestly, the picture I did for Kakashi probably ended up working out one of the best, if not the best. So yeah, Gojo as Kakashi. Similarities are obvious. And lastly, in place of Naruto, which I didn't do the 8th Hokage because I didn't know if that'd be a spoiler. I don't know if a lot of people are caught up with Boruto or whatever. But and technically he's not even the 8th Hokage. But anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. I picked Asta from Black Clover. Obviously, there's a lot of different shonen type characters I could have picked. I think Asta's probably the closest one. The dream of being Hokage, similar being the dream of being a Wizard King. People always doubting him. People, unjustly dislike him or discriminate against him, I guess is a word you could use. So yeah, a lot of similarities in their characters. What do you guys think about the video? What do you think about the comparisons? Do you think, and just tell me what you think. Nobody's watching at this point anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Thanks for watching. If you did watch, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Have a great rest of your day, you son of a